Hey guys, welcome to another Anime Kingdom discussion and review. This one is on Sword Art Online episode 2. Sorry, Sword Art Online 2 episode 11. But yeah, so the episode starts off with Sinon asking Kirito, how he overcame those memories because, that's the whole point she wants to do. She wants to become strong enough so she isn't scared of what happened before and stuff. To which Kirito tells her, he hasn't overcome it. You know, he tells her about, he had a dream last night with the three guys that he killed and he saw them over and over again and that, he'll never be able to forget them. And Sinan's like, she asks, what do I do? And I'd be like that too because she's obviously looking for answers. She sees Kirito, he's really strong. He pretty much has, the same relatively same thing going on with him, that he killed three people, but killed someone like she did, and she thought that he became strong and he forgot about those memories, to which he didn't. And I'd probably be like, oh man, what do I do then? Completely confused, To which Kirito answers that it was necessary, that he needed to accept what killing them meant, the weight to keep thinking, and that is the bare minimum of atonement he can do. And it's pretty much, yeah, I guess you can't just forget about those kind of things. She's just gotta really think that if she didn't do that, the guy would have probably killed her mom and maybe even some of the people there. Honestly, it's really bad she killed him, but he was a bad guy and she protected a lot of people. After that, they then, start to talk about Death Gun, and Kirito says, if they knew that his name in SAO, they could probably have just looked up his name and address, but they can't, so that's why he's in GGO. Sinan then asks, not asks, she then says, he can't forget about SAO, and he went to GGO because he wants to BK again. Kirito then says, that there's probably more, he thinks, to that, and talks about how he always kills, how what's it called, Death Gun always kills when there's a lot of people watching, and his exaggerated cross sign he does every time, he's probably trying to appeal to a large mass of people to show them that he really can kill someone in a game. We then learn, that the people haven't been dying of brain damage, which is what you think, because if he's shooting you in the game, it probably sends to your brain, and but what it really is that they're dying from heart failure. It's like, what? Heart failure? How is that possible, right? Then Kirito starts to wonder why Death Gun, shot at him with his rifle and not his handgun instead, because he could have probably just killed him right there. And Kirito then starts to look at Sinon, and where's his eyes land? Her ass. Her butt crack is literally like just her outfit. Her butt crack is literally just showing. I'm just like, what the heck? Kirito, you have Asuna. You have Asuna. You can't do that. He then talks about, he can't kill a person. You can't. He then talks about how you can't kill a person in a game with just a handgun, with just a gun, and how he would need preparations in the real world. And Sinon asks, how would he find the player's real world information? To which Kirito then realizes, the governor's office, where the people where you sign up for BOB, you're putting in your real world information and it's open. You could just look over your shoulder. To which he's like, she would have noticed someone looking over. To then he's like, oh, how about binoculars or a sniper scope? And you would immediately get kicked out for doing something like that. And then he's like, oh, what if it's his invisibility cloak and he's just invisible, going over and looking over their shoulders? And then you realize, oh, that's why he didn't kill. He couldn't just use his handgun on Kirito, because he never put any of his information in. He left the whole thing blank. And I was all like, man, he should have put his information in. Well, if it's a really good prize, Yeah. After that, Kirito he realizes that there are two death guns, one in the game and one in real life, who's the one that's killing the people. And that's how he's doing it. He gets the guy in the game, gets the information on the people, and then when he's gonna shoot the guy in the game, the guy in real life kills him. Sinan then says, how does he do that? What about the other people in their houses? And he explains about the two people that Death Gun killed before, and how they lived alone in these old apartment buildings, and they had these old electronic locks that are easy to break, and that when you're when you're dived in the game, your whole body is completely unconscious, so you wouldn't even notice. And even if you had a little bit trouble, you wouldn't notice. You're in the game. You don't know what's happening in real life. That's one thing that kind of scares me. Like, I would love to play a virtual game, but it is pretty scary, to be honest, for certain things like Sword Art Online happening, or like someone doing something to you when you're in the game. You can't do anything about it. Your body is completely unconscious. Your brain's in the game. And that's when Sinan then brings up, how do they kill them? Because how on earth would they make it so a heart failure, whatever they did, like a shot or anything, it would show on their body or something, that the doctors or the police would notice. To which Kirito explains that these bodies weren't found for for a while, so their bodies were badly decomposed. Yeah, that's kind of a long time for that to happen, but no one knows. These guys, most of these people, the people he killed, are probably just stay in their house a lot, so people next door and stuff wouldn't even notice, right? So, and of course, it isn't unheard of for a VR MMO player to die from heart attacks after not eating or sleeping. And to be honest, that makes sense. I could see that happening. There are people that play games now that probably like MMOs, and they just don't eat or sleep. And it's not healthy sometimes, right? I'm a gamer, but I still get enough sleep and eat, Not too much of an addict. Sinan then asks, why would he want to do that? And Kirito says, Death Gun might have he wants to keep being a red player, and explains how part of him still remembers being a swordsman. And Sinan then says, oh yeah, I understand, and sometimes, she thinks of herself that thinks to herself that she's a sniper. And I'm like, that's interesting that she thinks that, but it's more of Sword Art Online. They lived this was like their life, because that whole point, they were stuck in the game. It isn't like her, she can go back in real life and stuff, Kirito feels like he's a swordsman because that was pretty much like a whole portion of his life. Even if it wasn't that long, they were literally like, that could have been their whole life there if Kirito didn't, win the game for them. After that, he then, he's like, how does the Death Gun, oh no, they didn't talk about how the other Death Gun in real life might be a Laughing Coffin member. And I'm like, yeah, probably. I'm pretty sure. There was more. They captured a lot of them, so they didn't kill all of them. So it's possible. He then realizes, he's like, how would the guy in real life know when to kill the guy or vice versa, Death Gun, to do it at the right time, he thinks. And then he realizes that cross sign, that exaggerated how he does it slowly too, is that he's probably looking at his wristwatch to look at the time. And then I'm thinking, when you kill the guy, oh no, okay, I was about to say, if you kill the guy, he doesn't need to be, the guy in real life doesn't need to get him at the same time, but he injects into the thing, which then the guy disconnects, and that's why, yeah, I get it. Kirito then asks, if Sinan lives alone, to which she says she does, and that the door is locked, but she has one of those old electronic locks too, and realizes that the chain she had might not be on. And Kirito then realizes, he explains that when, Death Gun was chasing them, he was aiming at her, which means the preparations have been made and that the other death gun is probably in her room right now, waiting for the moment that that death gun in the game shoots her, and then death gun in real life will kill her. She then starts to panic and her heart rate starts to, spike up, go up, and Kirito, calms her, because if it goes too much, then it'll automatically lock her out of the game. And if that happens, and she will see the guy in real life, death gun in real life, and he'll probably just end up killing her, obviously, because he can't let her know this stuff is happening. And so he's like, gotta calm down. And I'd be panicking too, like, oh my gosh, there's a guy in my house, in my room, waiting to kill me and stuff. Like, oh man. We are then, back in ALO with everyone watching. I'm thinking, don't they all see Kirito being, super close with Sinon? Come on, really? They don't? We then see Kirito's boss, and Asuna gets up and asks him, what is going on, to which he tries to get out of it by saying, it'll take a while to explain, and he doesn't know where to start. And Asuna's just like, And then Yui's like, comes and explains, explains everything, how people are dying and stuff, yada yada yada, all the things we know about Death Gun already. And to which Kirito's boss is amazed that she gathered all that information, in that short amount of time, and came up to with that conclusion. And he asks her if she wants a part-time job in their virtual division, to which Asuna's like, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Klein then starts to get mad and says, if he knew about all these murders and still had Kirito convert, his account, he would. And to which he then explains that they aren't murders, and how the virtual helmet thing, I forget what it's called, can't kill you. It can't even harm you. I guess obviously after Nerve Gear they completely changed it, and it definitely can't, give you a heart failure. In that him and Kirito had a long debate about it before, and came to the conclusion that you can't kill someone with a bullet in the game and kill them in real life. Lifa then asks why he sent Kirito in the game then, and then pretty much answers his own question, saying you have a feeling, no, you do have that feeling that Death Gun has a terrifying secret, right? To which he's like, he knows. He's like, yes. Asuna then tells him that Death Gun is a sword art, SAO survivor like them, and a member of the Laughing Coffin, to which he didn't know. And I'm thinking, isn't Kirito supposed to put these kind of things in his report every time after he logs off the game? Because before he saw Death Gun before, and the Laughing Coffin thing before he went into the tournament, so he should have sent that that info in. Kirito, not doing your job correctly. Asuna then asked if he was able to find Death Gun's, if he was able to find Death Gun's real name and address, wouldn't he be able to, just go and look for him? Because they can just look up the list of Laughing Coffin members. To which he tells, it's impossible, he can't do that. And to which Silica then asks, what about asking the game owners? To which, of course, he says they're overseas. It's a company in America, so that would be hard to do right now. Lifa then talks about how Kirito is there, to learn on the battlefield, to learn about the guy's name and finish things from SAO and stuff. To which Asuna and everyone is like, why didn't he say anything? And, they would have joined him. To which Silica is like, yeah, Kirito wouldn't do that if he thought they were all in danger, and he wouldn't want to involve all of them, and that's the kind of person he is, and everyone agrees. And yeah, Kirito is that kind of guy. He's the hero type of guy. He doesn't want any of them to get hurt. If there's a way he could just do it without, having anyone else involved, like, he doesn't want Asuna just in, what if that guy attacks her, And this is all SAO stuff too, so they remember all those moments too. I wouldn't be surprised if Asuna and Klein probably had to kill someone too. And after that, Asuna then, asks where Kirito is diving in from, and he explains that, the place they have him at is monitored well, good security, they have someone watching over his body, so he's safe. And then she's like, where? And he tells her the hospital, and then she's like, oh, the one he his rehab from. And then she says, you know, she's gonna go and find. He's gonna go to where he is now in real life. And after that, we're back in GGO, guys, and that the only way to stop Death Gun in real life is to defeat the Death Gun in the game, which makes sense because he's not gonna do it. He's not gonna kill her if he doesn't. It's not shown in the game because he's trying to show to the people, like he just said before, that he can kill people in the game. She then says, you know, that they've been a pair for a while, so let's fight together till the end. To which at first he's like, you know, she could die, but you know, they finally agree and stuff. But she's gonna, they come up with a plan. He comes with a plan that he's gonna stand out in the open for right when the next satellite scan, and he'll wait for him to shoot. And when he shoots, Sinan will be able to find where he shot from and shoot him. And of course, you know, like, what, you're gonna be decoy? She's like, and you know, he's like, he'll just block it or something. He's like, oh wait, how am I gonna do it? Because his gun is silent. But then they talk about how, you know, or why don't you just predict? You know, you do your predicting, yeah, blah 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 kind of thing. And towards the end, he realizes, you know, Death Gun's name is, since it's not Pale Rider, it's not Musketeer X or whatever it was, yeah. So it must mean it's Durbin or whatever. And to which Sinan is like, I wonder what it means. And Kirito's like, well, if I get close, I'll be sure to ask. And the episode ends with Kirito pretty much leaving the cave, getting ready to start the thing. I give this episode a 7 out of 10. It was a lot of dialogue, a lot of, you know, talking about what they're gonna do, what's happening, but it's pretty much a lead up to the next episode, which I cannot wait for. This has to be, it's gonna be the episode where they fight finally, and I'm excited. I cannot wait for this. It's probably gonna be a pretty crazy fight, and Asuna is waiting for him in the hospital. She'll be by his side the whole time. And yeah, man. As always, guys, this is a discussion as well as a review. So if you want to comment below what you thought about the episode, then feel free to do it. If you have any questions, comment that below too. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion and review. Till next time, guys. See ya.